What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post game for game number 46. The 3-2 loss to the Atlanta Braves. We'll dive into what it means and get ready for tomorrow's game. Before I get started, like button, sub button. Both help me out tremendously. You guys know that by now, as I mention every video. But I truly appreciate everyone that has hit the like button for me. Just helps get these videos out to more people as I try to grow my channel. And I hope you enjoy the level-headed Mariners takes that I try to provide. Doesn't mean sometimes I don't get a little upset or a little too optimistic sometimes. But for the most part, I try to stay on an even keel with this team. I'll try to do so today. Kind of a frustrating game. Going to level with you guys right off the bat. So just so you know, if this means you're going to click this off, I understand. Didn't watch the game. Just couldn't today. Sundays are tough. You guys know how weekends are sometimes. You got stuff you got to do with the family and things like that. So did not watch the game. Followed it on my phone a little bit. So, I know what happened, but I can't speak to some things. I know the Mariners did have a couple hard hit outs and stuff like that. But let's just dive into what we do know. That's the Mariners lose day 3-2. They dropped the series to the Braves. They fall to 22-24 on the season. Truthfully, they played the Braves 3 games and played them pretty even overall. The first game was close up until the 8th when the Braves pulled away. So the Braves ended up getting a kind of big win there. Mariners have a pretty decent-sized win yesterday and then a pretty even game today. So overall, these 3 games in a vacuum wouldn't worry anybody. I mean, the Mariners played a really good team in Atlanta, a team that's capable of winning a World Series. They played them for 3 games and played them pretty tough. So these 3 games in a vacuum, I don't think should upset you in any way. There's nothing the Mariners did in this series that was like, oh my gosh, how could they? But there were some frustrating things today. One thing I will remind everybody of, I believe the Braves were 22-24 last year and ended up winning the division. So just in terms of deep breath, I'm not saying the Mariners are the Braves, but just in terms of taking a deep breath, realize there's a lot of baseball left this season. George Kirby was fantastic again, 7 innings, 6 hits. I know gave up that 3rd run or that 2nd run kind of on a couple bloopers that fell in. 1 walk, 6 Ks. Kirby continues to be phenomenal. I said sleeper Cy Young before the season, and he's certainly been that so far. He continues to be great. Only 5 walks on the year to, I believe, now 51 strikeouts. Bullpen did its job in the 9th between Saucedo and Juan 10, getting the Mariners to have a chance to tie the game in the 9th. Again, the trouble today was the offense. 3 hits, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. And the pitcher, Jared Schuster. Is it Jared or is it? I think it's Jared. Let me just double check. Yeah, Jared Schuster came into today's his first year with more walks and strikeouts on the season, and he completely shut down the Mariners for 6 innings. That's the type of ones that's not acceptable from this offense. You've got to find a way to be better than that. You cannot. Yes, this is a Home Alone T-shirt, by the way. I know it's Christmas in July or Christmas in late May. It was the first shirt in my drawer that was clean. I just grabbed it, so just want to get that out of the way before we go further. But that's not acceptable. Listen, Schuster may be a better prospect than that. He may be a good pitcher, but this is still someone that struggled this year. And outside of the Kelenic home run, the Mariners did absolutely nothing against him. They continue to get runners to second to start an inning, don't score him. Runner at 3rd with 1 out, don't score him. The top of the order, I'll give JP a pass, but Ty, Julio continue to be bad. They're not even moving guys over. Now I know Ty did hit a couple balls hard today for outs, and I'm fine with that. If that was, who's swinging a good bat in this team, JP, Kelenic, I kind of give them a little bit of okay, it happens. But Ty hasn't been swinging a great bat. I don't think he had a hit this series. So while I get it, and that's good that he hit the ball hard, it's still outs, and it's still not doing the things this team needed. And the thing is, they didn't need a massive offensive outpouring today. If they just would have moved those runners over when Caballero was at 3rd in the, I want to say, 3rd inning and got a sac fly. There's 2. Caballero led off the 6th or the 5th with that was when he was hit by pitch, then he walked later as well, and he stole a base. Caballero had 3 stolen bases today, by the way, and if he would have, they got him to 3rd, or excuse me, so let me slow down. In the third inning, he got to third with one out. He was hit by a pitch, stole second, stole third. They left him there. I believe it was the fifth inning, he walked and then stole second, and then they left him at second with nobody out. Like, things like that, it's just super frustrating. And I'm not asking for, where's the 2-run home run there? Where's the 3-run home run? Where's the double? Where's the sac fly? Where is the RBI ground out? Just something. The Mariners didn't need. They probably would have been fine. They probably could have won this game with the 3 hits. They probably could have. Just needing a little ground out, a little fly ball, and this game could have been 4-3. They could have won this baseball game. But no. The only guy today that did anything, Jared Kelenic, 1 for 4 at the sole home run. That was good to see off the lefty as well. Kelenic continues. I know he hasn't had the same May that he had in April, but his overall numbers are still fantastic. And if out of everybody in this lineup, I'm not getting on Jared Kelenic. And then Caballero was 1 for 1 with the home run, his first major league home run, which is awesome. Then a walk and a hit by pitch. So and 3 stolen bases. Caballero showed up to play today. I don't know where everybody else was on this team. I think Murphy had a grounder that he didn't run out. I didn't see it, but I saw some people on Twitter saying Murphy needs to run, so I'm assuming he kind of lollygagged something there. I'm not going to get into it because I didn't see it. I don't want to be critical of somebody's play without seeing the play. I just don't think that's fair to the player. But yeah, just overall, just continued poor performance for the offense. JP 0 for 4, Ty 0 for 4, Julio 0 for 4. I mean, this is a pitcher that Julio should have been mashing. And again, in a vacuum, this one game, does that matter that he didn't hit Schuster? No. But Julio's not hitting anybody right now. I said yesterday, the 3 walks were great yesterday, and I'm happy about that. But the swing is still off. Something's just not clicking there. Gino 0 for 4. Teo had a hit. AJ Pollock. We're getting close to, is it just time to DFA AJ Pollock? I mean, he's not providing much value. He's not hitting lefties. At this point, I'd rather just give the at-bats to Taylor Trammell. Tom Murphy 0 for 2. Cal, not going to get him. Pinch hit, struck out. And then, like I said, Caballero was the only one that really showed up to play. And this is a guy that, shouldn't have even been on the roster. I don't mean that's a knock on Caballero, but if Dylan Moore was healthy and Colton Wong was okay, we wouldn't even be talking about Caballero. So, and he's the only one that does anything today, along with George Kirby and the bullpen. So, I mean, it's just frustrating all around because, and another 1-run loss to boot for this team. They're now 4-12 in 1-run games. And I get it. Some people are going to tell me, that's not luck. That's just bad play, bad this. There is bad luck involved in that, guys. When you're 4-12, when you're the worst record in 1-run games, you are getting unlucky in certain aspects of it. Is it all luck? No. I just went through this lineup and ripped it a little bit on why everybody's struggling. That's the major reason. But the Mariners have a worse record in 1-run games than the Oakland Athletics. So unless you think the A's should be better than the Mariners in 1-run games for some unforeknown reason, then yeah, there is some bad luck involved in there with that. So that, and here's the thing, that little bit of luck that might be factoring in, that I'm just not too worried about. That should even out. I do not expect when this season ends, the Mariners to have the worst record in baseball in 1-run games. I don't. Because they're not the worst team. You know who should have the worst record in baseball in 1-run games? Oakland, Colorado. The teams that are bad, because they're going to lose the most games. The Mariners shouldn't. Even if you think they're a 500 team, they shouldn't have the worst record in 1-run games. So that itself should balance out. And I've talked about that before. Just imagine if the team was 6-10 in 1-run games. Still bad. They'd be 24-22. And again, I think we'd all feel pretty good about that. So from that aspect, that should even out. But in order to get to what we want this team to get to, these guys have got to start hitting. And it starts with Julio. It does. I'm not trying to be, he's a young kid. I'm not here to rip Julio. I think he is a tremendous human being, tremendous athlete. I have very little doubt that he is going to be a Hall of Fame player. I think he's going to get it together this season. I think he's going to get it together tomorrow. That's how much faith I have in Julio. But he's not been good. People can talk all they want about it. Dipoto should have added. The ownership should have opened the books a little more. I think they should have. And everything with the ownership. I think Dipoto did a fine job. Or Hollister, whoever you want to put it on. None of it would have mattered. None of it matters if Julio was swinging the bat like this. None of it. There is no player they would have added that would have changed much from who you wanted that player to replace. Like Trey Turner in for J.P. Crawford wouldn't change anything for this team. If Julio's not going to hit, it will not matter. It won't. It doesn't matter what Jerry could have done realistically in the offseason, unless your goal was like they should have gotten Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani or something like that. It was not going to matter what this team did. So Julio's got to hit. Ty Francis got to hit. Gino's got to at least hit for power. He doesn't have to necessarily hit, but he's got to hit for power. Teoscar's got to hit for power and hit. AJ Pollock should be hitting lefties. All those things. That I don't even need to get into anymore. That right there. Those guys need to do it. Regardless of what they could have done in the offseason, regardless of what you wanted them to do, if these guys aren't hitting, it would not make a difference. Maybe a little bit. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say no difference, but this team's not going to get to where we want to go with Julio hitting 204 with an OPS of 6 something here. What is it? 656 with, with a slugging of 376 and an OBP of 280. That's not going to work. That's not going to work for a player you're counting on being one of your best. And if you're going to blame the Mariners for thinking Julio should be one of their best players, I don't know what to tell you. He was amazing last year. I hope you take the next step. I know people are saying, well, that's on Jerry for banking on that. Last year, I can get that argument. Last year, you can't have a rookie go out there and expect them to just be the best. But there's no reason to not expect Julio to be one of the better players. Again, I love Julio. He's going to be fine. I don't think he should be sent down. I don't think that's going to help you. I don't think the issue is Julio needing time. Because, listen, Julio's going to go to AAA and he's going to do what Jared Kelenic always did. He's just going to mash. We know he's going to hit AAA pitching. Yeah, he's going to crush Tommy Malone's for 3 weeks. But the only way this team gets better is with Julio that they had last year, or, Julio last year taking that next step. It's not going to be with Julio in AAA. Because here's the thing. If you send Julio down, you're giving more at-bats. You're going to have to expose Trammell to lefties more. You're going to have to get A.J. Pollock more at-bats. I mean, there's nobody you're going to call up that's going, even if you say, okay, we activate Dylan Moore and he can go out there. If you're going to ask yourself, who's going to have a better season from today to the rest of the year, Julio or Trammell? Julio or Jared Kelenic? Because he'd probably play center field. You could push on that. Julio or Dylan Moore? Julio or A.J. Pollock? Julio. You're going to project Julio. So sending him down, unless you think he's just truly broken, it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to help the big league club, in my opinion. I think it's just, I wouldn't say it's an overreaction to send somebody down. If anything, it might be like an underreaction in a way, but not an underreaction, but if anything, you'd say, hey, we're trying to help Julio out. But I just don't think, I don't think that's what's going to be best for this team. I think Julio's just going to have to come out of this. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So not trying to spend the whole, Julio had 3 walks yesterday. That was great. I'm not trying to spend this whole video harping on Julio, but just everything aside with this team, throw everything out. If Julio isn't going to be better, the team it's going to hover here. This is what it's going to be. It's just not going to be good enough to win a division or maybe even get to the playoffs, because the AL feels a little bit deeper this year than it was last year. Now, the good news is I think Julio is going to get it together. Like I said, look, the Atlanta Braves last year were in the same boat the Mariners are. There are still some positives going with this team despite what happened today. They actually played a pretty good series. Atlanta's a really good baseball team. And the Mariners, again, you can't play even for 3 games. Someone's got to win 2. But in terms of you just look at the overall series, the Mariners played a really good team pretty evenly. In fact, I think they were outscored by 1 run in the 3 games. So they didn't go into Atlanta and get blasted. They had a chance to win game 1. They win game 2. They had a chance to win today as well. So, I mean, again, truthfully, and I know you guys, I know some people hate it when I do this, but they were a couple things here and there away from sweeping this series. They really were. They were not far away from getting a sweep in Atlanta. And listen, that kudos to the Braves. They got the wins. I'm not diminishing that. And the Mariners don't get those wins. You can't go back. But they didn't play bad. Now we get into a homestand here where the Mariners are going to have to win some games. They have 4 against Oakland, 3 against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I say this every year, Pittsburgh's playing better. They are. But it's still a team in Seattle I think the Mariners should beat in a series. Then you've got the Yankees for 3. The Yankees are really good. But again, I think you can beat them in a series. I want a 7-3 homestand here. That doesn't mean I'm done if they go 5-5 or done if they go 6-4. But this is a homestand. I want to see some wins. I will never predict a sweep, especially in a 4-game series. I don't expect them to beat Oakland 4 games in a row. That's hard to do. I know Oakland might be the worst team ever, but you're still asking a lot for a team to sweep 4. But they need to win 3 out of 4. They need to beat Pittsburgh 2 out of 3, and I'm hoping they can beat the Yankees 2 out of 3. Because it's time. We're getting into it where the team needs to start kicking it up a little bit. Again, they're not. I wouldn't put it in panic mode or anything like that. They don't need a 14-game winning streak, as everyone's telling on Twitter that, oh, you can't rely on that. They don't need a 14-game winning streak, but they could use a 7-3 homestand. I think we'd all agree that. They could use a really nice homestand here and get going. And listen, the AL looks deeper this year. Baltimore's hot. Toronto's good. The Yankees are good. Tampa's great. Red Sox look good. Texas, I think Texas does drop off a little bit, but they certainly they're going to be good. The Astros are getting hot now. Altuve's back. The Angels are going to hang around. Minnesota's good. I still think Cleveland gets hot at some point here. So you're going to have a lot of teams in the mix. And maybe some of them drop off. That happened last year. We still got about 115 games left for every team here. So we don't want to get too far ahead and say all these teams are going to be in it. Someone may drop off. But it's going to be a little harder this year, I think. I think it's going to be a little harder. So the Mariners certainly haven't played themselves out of anything. If you're around 500 going into June, you're still alive. But it would be nice to get some wins here, and they should have a couple series here where they can do it. Hopefully they can do it. So that's going to be it for me today. Again, I would advise everybody still take a deep breath. This is going to be a hard series. This was not an easy road trip. It would have been really great to get that sweep in Detroit. I was probably less frustrated about that loss than I should have been with Boston, Atlanta. I said go 3-3 with Boston, Atlanta. They went 2-4. They were close. They had a chance to get 3-3. But that's a tough road trip, Boston, Atlanta. They didn't kill themselves. They didn't go 0-6 and dig themselves a hole. Winning a couple games there was nice. And I even said it for the Atlanta series. Not getting swept is huge. It keeps you a couple games under 500 versus 4 games under. So, that does help. They did get the win, at least yesterday. I thought they had a good chance to win today, but, alas, it didn't work out. So, Kirby was fantastic again. This pitching staff continues to be great. Great series for the pitching staff. Great series for Bryce Miller. Logan Gilbert was fantastic yesterday, and George Kirby was great again today. The pitching is too good. The offense, we're not asking it to be great. It's just got to be a little bit better. It just has to be a little bit better, a little more consistent, because they had a great game yesterday. The consistency is key. A bad baseball team coming up tomorrow in Oakland, so let's see if they can get a couple wins there. Well, hopefully more than a couple wins, but let's see if they can just get a win tomorrow. Let's take it one game at a time. Hope everybody enjoys. Hope everybody has a great Sunday night. Enjoy what's left of your weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for the post-game recap. As always, go Mariners, and hope everybody has a good one. Peace.